business news from the Capital Region. This is Washington Business Report with ABC7 national correspondent Rebecca Cooper.
Thanks for joining us for a look at business and finance here in the Washington region. Coming up on today's show, why bad-mouthing so-called distressed babies is a really dumb move for a corporate CEO, forcing his billion-dollar company to do a complete 180. Plus this week, don't be afraid of it. Embrace Google+. We'll tell you why and how. But first, let's take a look at the week in review. It was dramatic, blustery, and kept people guessing. And that was even before the winter storm hit. This week for Washington businesses and employees, the weather was the big headline, even beating a stock market rally and signs interest rates will stay low for some time. The weather can mean money for some businesses, so these snow shovelers working for U.S. Lawn and Wisconsin Place Properties had no choice but to get to work, just with no place open nearby to get breakfast or other snow essentials. So how is it out there today?
It's miserable.
There's no place to go get coffee? There's no place to go to the bathroom?
Not that we've found yet.
Bethesda Scooter and Boards co-owner Carrie Budoff says he has to take advantage of a good time to sell.
We're open every day to bring fun to Bethesda and the surrounding area.
And on Thursday, we found Geico employee Tracy Boone trudging knee-deep through snow outside Friendship Heights Metro, saying her company made sure its employees came in, expecting lots of insurance claims due to the big storm.
I bet the gecko's not out today, though. Little cold for the gecko, I would agree with that.
But beyond insurance losses, all this snow meant, for most, lots of lost business. Retailers, restaurants, and offices across the region had to shut down to wait out the storm. Even some considered crucial on a snow day.
I just walked past the Starbucks, it's closed. It's the first time in ever that I've seen that Starbucks closed.
But others went to great lengths to open their doors, including this fourth-generation family business, Chevy Chase Supermarket on Connecticut Avenue. Brothers Jason and Kevin Kirch run the family store and called 1-800-MATTRESS in time for 10 employees to sleep in the store and open on Thursday. Can you say cashier on aisle 9 with the wine? No, really. Cashier on aisle 9, wake up. It's time to open.
We're a neighborhood store. We're here to take care of the neighborhood. So I have a good, loyal group of employees, and we went out and we bought 10 mattresses. So we have mattresses, we bought beds in the bags, we have blankets, and I had a good group of employees that spent the night in the store. And unfortunately, around here, we seem to have these once-in-a-lifetime weather events every, 6 months? So we've done it several times. We did it during the last hurricane, we did it in Snowmageddon, we did it during the derecho. We're here to take care of the neighborhood, and this way, if we're here in the evening, we're here when the trucks come in, we're able to restock, and we're ready for business at 9 a.m. when we open our doors.
It costs more, and it's not a comfortable sleep for he and his employees, but Jason says they bond over the experience, even enjoying sleepover banana splits. But he notes the discomfort is necessary to prove their commitment and stay in business despite all the bad weather.
It's very devastating, especially for us. We are a small family business. We don't have the power of chains behind us. So every day, every dollar helps us make us better. But we figure the more competition, the more things, it makes us even better. And we're here to take care of the neighborhood.
It wasn't comfortable, but customers were grateful, including this mom and loyal shopper, Suzanne Davis, who saw the cars parked outside Wednesday night.
And I said to the guys driving home, I said, oh my God, Kevin and Jason are sleeping in the store. We don't have to worry about groceries.
Before the snow hit, the other big business headline this week came courtesy of one simple sentence from the woman now holding the title of most powerful person in the monetary world, Janet Yellen.
I expect a great deal of continuity in the FOMC's approach to monetary policy.
That didn't take a Fed translator to know that Yellen means she will go slow in terms of winding down the popular Fed stimulus program of buying bonds that have kept interest rates low. And that news made the market happy, the stock soaring during Yellen's 6 hours of testimony before Congress. Wall Street was also pleased this week when House Speaker John Boehner bit the bullet and broke his own rule, letting Democrats pass a lifting of the debt ceiling despite a majority of Republicans opposing the move. And joining us now to discuss some of the Washington business headlines beyond snow, Politico's senior White House correspondent, Carrie Budoff Brown. Carrie, welcome. Kudos to you for getting into work this week. There goes my microphone, but we're not going to worry about it. So let's talk a little bit first about Janet Yellen. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds because even a business audience gets bored by Fed speak. But suffice to say, Janet Yellen did, by everyone's estimation, a really good job reassuring Congress, reassuring the market. She wasn't the White House's first pick, but the Obama administration must be pleased with Janet Yellen calming the markets.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway was that there was very little daylight between Bernanke, her predecessor, and her. The continuity in policy, even the way they spoke, they had a lot of the same language that they used. And
yet she got kudos from Shelley Moore Capito saying, "You're the first Fed chairman
right.
I could actually understand."
Yes, that was a good line. So she got good reviews, and I, signaled that there will not be any changes at this point, despite the bad unemployment report last week, and sort of the market being in flux. When she spoke, the stock market responded very well to her remarks.
And she even said, yes, Ben Bernanke set a ceiling for unemployment, and once we hit that, he said we were going to start shifting policy on interest rates. But she said, forget about it. Even though unemployment numbers are improving, the long-term unemployed are still a problem, and we're not going to use that as a barometer anymore. We'll just keep looking at the overall economy.
Yeah.
So no complaints from the White House, I take it, for Janet Yellen.
No complaints, absolutely not.
Anyone calling Larry Summers and saying, Larry who?
Yeah, exactly.
But let's get to the drama of the debt ceiling, because I think there's some lessons here for anyone who has to manage an unruly bunch.
Yeah.
John Boehner bit the bullet. The business community was adamant they did not want to see another fight like the government shutdown. Boehner did not have the votes with Republicans, and he told his caucus, you know what, forget it, we'll let Democrats take the hit. And when he walked off, he came back and said, I don't get any applause for saving you guys on this. And then there was drama in the Senate. Tell us what Politico discovered about some of that drama.
The Senate was fascinating. Traditionally, in the Senate, when there is a vote, each senator goes to the well of the Senate chamber and puts their finger up, and a clerk will then record it over microphone, so everyone in the chamber can hear, and on C-SPAN. It's a big part of the process.
Mr. Cornyn votes aye, but Mr. Cornyn and others didn't want that.
On the request of a Republican senator, or the Republican side, they asked that the votes not be recorded as they made them, and that allowed Republicans, the leaders, to arm twist and not have it be that one certain senator would be the deciding the 60th vote, which can be used, and members of Congress have lost elections because of that.
You all reported, Mitch McConnell thought he had the votes because it was going to take a simple majority, but good old Ted Cruz came in and said, no, this is going to have to be one of those that requires 60 votes, and suddenly they didn't have the votes to let it pass. They needed more Republicans. They asked Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins from Maine to take the fall, and those two said, you know what, you're always making us take the fall. If you want this, you vote for it. So they forced Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn to take the vote.
I thought that was a pretty brilliant move by those two senators, and because they are always the ones who can be relied on to give Democrats what they need, and it forced Cornyn and McConnell to do something that drew audible gasps in the chamber from the press sitting in the gallery, that you saw Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn do it. That they did not want to do that. Cruz is solidified his role in that caucus as someone that people do not like. The Wall Street Journal editorial page went after Cruz, calling him all kinds of names.
Yes. We've got to get to break, but I love the drama of that. Much more in Politico, and you've been covering all of this as well from your perch. But there's another thing that your sister news organization made big news with, and we're going to come back with more of that after the break. So stay with us. When we return, the cost of criticizing Obamacare. The CEO of AOL criticized health care reform and wound up apologizing when politics and business collide after the break. Welcome back. It's become a popular punching bag for businesses large and small. The much maligned Affordable Care Act, now better known as Obamacare. But as one leading company has learned, going too far in bashing health care costs can backfire, especially when you add into the Obamacare bashing additional complaints about specific employees and their babies. Case in point, AOL CEO Tim Armstrong is still making headlines for what not to say as a CEO for his recent comments slamming both Obamacare and what he dubbed distressed babies. The baby blow-up started when CEO Tim Armstrong announced on an AOL conference call with employees changes to their 401k plans. First, Armstrong blamed rising health care costs he said were caused by Obamacare.
If you look at our average employee, we would have to actually increase their payments per month. they were going to make on their health care plans. And that's where the balance of that and the Obamacare Act and some of the changes that happened there had increases in our health care costs.
That didn't go well, according to some employees on the call, and then things got worse. According to the website Capital New York, which broke the story and got the phone call transcript, Armstrong went on to blame the benefit cuts on 2 AOL employees who gave birth to, quote, distressed babies. He claims costing the company $1 million each. When that news leaked, the public was outraged, and so were AOL staff. Armstrong didn't apologize right away, but eventually did, and reinstated the 401k benefits. But employees, take note. Many businesses, including Target and UPS, are making big cuts to benefits and blaming Obamacare. So who is this website that broke the big Armstrong news, and what was the reaction in Washington? Joining us again, Carrie Budoff Brown from Politico. So, Carrie, let's admit it. Oh, there goes my microphone. The website that broke it, Capital New York, is now your sister news organization, a new property of Albritton Communications Company. Robert Albritton sold us. He was a great boss, but now he wanted to focus more on new opportunities, websites. So what is Capital New York?
It aims to cover New York politics, media, culture as obsessively as Politico has covered Washington, Congress, and lobbying, and the White House. And it's taken that model, and they've had a couple of really great scoops, like this Tim Armstrong scoop, which they got a transcript from an employee and ran with it. And
got a lot of buzz. They were the ones credited with breaking this big story, and it's a lesson in what not to do as a CEO. But I'm just curious, did the White House respond? I mean, it was a good opportunity for them to say, don't bash Obamacare.
Not publicly. I think if it would have dragged on a couple more days, you may have seen the president have to answer, or he would have wanted to talk about it in an interview or some other context, because it so goes against, I think, what he believes. And so we would have, I think, heard something.
And listen, a day when the White House doesn't have to defend Obamacare, but instead let employees say, hey, be careful what you say, don't do it.
It's a good day for him.
A good day for the White House. Carrie Budoff Brown, thanks so much for joining this week on Washington Business Report. And when we return, you may be avoiding it. You may already be caught up in its circles. Google Plus will unravel the mystery and finally teach you how to use the network and maybe even grow your income.